That new Russian equipment they're fielding, it's not like I'd say it's complete garbage. But when it comes to armor, overall protection, the safety of the crew, and especially the infantry inside, it's nowhere near the Bradley. Our Bradley has taken a hit from a tank. A tank. Think about that. It just tears off some piece of armor and that's it. Half the time we don't even realize a tank just nailed us. We only find out later, after we get back, watch the footage, and inspect the damage to the vehicle. We just laugh it off. Well, they cracked us a little. The Russians had their moments too. There was one guy, a Russian machine gunner, who suddenly jumped out. He stood right in front of us and emptied an entire belt straight into our face, right into the front grille. It was actually kind of funny. A weird character. We deliberately didn't touch him at first. We wanted to see what he'd do, how long his nerve would hold, how it would all play out. We could see he was firing at us, but we couldn't actually feel anything. Nothing at all. We waited until he finished shooting. Then we dealt with him. No reason to leave him alive after that. The Bradley, the M2 Bradley, it's an outstanding vehicle. We operate the M2 version. Although, to be honest, we trained on the M3s. Those are even better. If the United States had given us the M3s, things would have been even easier. I'll tell you something else. I honestly don't know how the Soviet Union ever planned to fight these machines. And remember, the Bradley itself is already about 50 years old. Even today, I honestly can't think of anything in our arsenal that's a true equivalent. It's an incredible piece of equipment. An 82mm, 3.2-inch mortar round hits it, and honestly, it sounds like someone knocking on a sheet of plywood. That's it. You barely feel anything. We've hit mines too. If it weren't for the flames, the smoke, and the vehicle grinding to a halt, you honestly wouldn't even realize what had happened. You don't understand what's going on until the vehicle catches fire, or the driver says, "That's it, we're done. A road wheel's gone. We can't move anymore." Only then do you realize you've hit a mine. The blast ripped a massive hole through the belly of the vehicle. It tore a hole into the troop compartment too. And somehow, we were completely fine. One of my favorite operations was when we entered Robotyne. We completely fooled the enemy. The operation was planned well. We didn't drive in on the roads. We came through people's gardens, across open fields, through backyards. Intelligence found the easiest places to smash through fences, and we pushed straight through the gardens into the center of Robotyne. Nobody expected us there. If we'd driven on the roads like everyone else, we never would have made it. Not a chance. The fields were packed with mines. Entire fields. Minefields unlike anything I'd ever seen in my life. I'd never seen anything like it. Sometimes it feels like even the ground itself is helping us. I can't explain it. There have been so many moments when, by every bit of logic, we absolutely should have died. But somehow, we make it through. An anti-tank guided missile hit our Bradley. Just so you understand, it came straight into the front of the vehicle. I honestly thought I was dead. I truly believed I had died. Another shell landed and exploded just 1 meter, about 3.3 feet away from us. I was afraid to even turn my head. By every rule of war, everything should have ended in disaster. But it didn't. I don't know why. All the fragments flew everywhere. We were buried under dirt, completely covered in earth, and not a single fragment hit any of us. How can you not believe in God after something like that? It was on the Zaporizhzhia front. Our vehicle had already been knocked out. We'd already dismounted. Right next to us, a UR-77 was burning too, the mine-clearing vehicle. We got lucky again. We managed to jump off in time. There was a tree line and a small embankment there. The enemy realized we'd jumped down into it. They saw where we'd gone. Then they started pounding the area with artillery. A drone flew overhead. And I told the guys, just lie still. Don't move. We're dead bodies. If we'd started running, the Russians would have never let us get out alive. So again, how are you supposed not to believe in God? It felt like we were under some kind of protective dome. We're lying there, shells exploding all around us. One guy caught a fragment in the shoulder. Pure chance. It's something out of science fiction, and even then, it was only a scratch. And they were hammering us with shells. For 10 hours. Just so you understand, 10 straight hours of non-stop fire. 10 hours. You won't see anything like that in the movies. I honestly don't know how we survive. Even during that 10-hour bombardment. 10 hours. The longest pause was maybe a minute without incoming fire. One artillery battery would stop and immediately multiple launch rocket systems would open up. The rockets would finally go quiet, and right away mortar rounds started falling. Then it all repeated over and over and over again. You simply can't even lift your head. It's something you have to experience for yourself. You can't explain it. You have to feel it. The first time something like that happened to me was back in the 56th Brigade. A buddy and I were moving into position near Oktyabr. We were heading into a tree line. The strange part is that I'd spent the previous 2 days crawling around that area, picking positions and figuring out where to place the guys. Then, on the day I was leading him in, I thought, no, let me check one more time. I walked forward and lifted my foot. I don't know why, but I never put it down. It was like I suddenly knew something was about to happen. So I pulled my foot back. I turned to Artur and asked, Artur, what just happened? He didn't understand either. He said, Alex, I hadn't even caught up to you yet. And for some reason, I still don't know why, I never lowered my foot. Instead, I stepped back and put it down behind me. I crouched down, and there it was. An OZM-72 bounding fragmentation mine. To be honest, that's when I started believing in God. Before that, I didn't believe in God or the devil. And after that, there were so many moments like this. I simply can't explain them. They're beyond logic. I got burned too. A Lancet loitering munition hit us. My clothes were on fire. That was another unbelievable moment. Same kind of story. I was just sitting there, sitting at an observation post at our holding point. I lit a cigarette. I don't know why, but I suddenly lowered my head. The Lancet punched a hole straight through the Bradley. My communications helmet caught fire. My jacket caught fire too. The warhead kept traveling through the vehicle. Everything was burning. I asked the gunner to help put me out. He kicked open the hatch and let the smoke escape. Then I got on the radio and asked the driver whether the vehicle was still operational. He started the engine and said, "Yeah, she's still running." He turned the Bradley around, then slammed on the accelerator. And just like that, we made it out. The enemy realized we were moving and started chasing us with mortar fire. Their fatal mistake was that they didn't finish us off immediately. That was my second birth. This is us. Alex, wave your hand for history. My face, of course. Well, I'd been through a lot. I got burned too, but it didn't hurt. Nothing was burning, nothing stung, not until we got back to our own lines. We finally relaxed, reported the situation, everything was done. Only then did it start to burn. Only then did the pain hit. Before that, you just don't feel it. My wife used to say she'd never be the wife of a soldier. But somehow, I guess she came to terms with it. When I was leaving for the war, of course she said, "I'm not letting you go." I told her, "You know that won't change anything." She sat there and cried. She understood I'd leave anyway. She's a tough woman, though. Whenever she could, no matter where we were deployed, she'd come to visit. The guys used to joke that my wife deserved veteran status herself. I try not to talk about the war with my family at all, and I wouldn't recommend anyone else do it either. Your family doesn't need those details. I just tell them, everything's fine. I'll come home. We'll go somewhere to relax. We'll grill some meat. That's it. The people back home, even my parents, sometimes we're out of contact for a week. We know everything's okay, but they don't. They imagine the worst possible things. Sometimes later you hear what they talk themselves into, and it's terrifying. My wife even gets mad sometimes. She says, "What did I tell you? If you're out of contact for more than 3 days, you're going to get your ass kicked." By education, I'm actually a livestock specialist. Around the end of 2014, I was attached to the 56th Mariupol Brigade. In 2019, my health gave out, and I was medically discharged from the army. Until 2022, I spent almost a year recovering. Finally got myself back into shape. Then the full-scale invasion began. And how are you supposed to just sit at home? I packed my things again and left. Went to the enlistment office. I was officially classified as having a Group 2 disability. The guys told me that a territorial defense unit was being formed in Kremenchuk. I got there, and there was an enormous line. I walked around, found a gap off to the side, ended up becoming a squad leader in the 3rd Company. We spent some time patrolling around the outskirts of the city, manned checkpoints, then deployed to Kharkiv Oblast, then to Sumy Oblast. Later, another friend of mine found out the 47th Brigade was being formed. Back then it was still the 47th Regiment. He said, "Sanya, want to give it a shot?" I said, "Sure, why not?" They asked me, "Sergeant, do you want to try being a squad leader? Why train somebody new when you've already served and your rank qualifies you?" I told them honestly that I was nervous, especially about foreign equipment. I thought, God knows whether I'll manage or not. So we went abroad for training. We gave it a try. And I'll tell you this, that equipment is so easy to learn that almost anyone can master it, and in a very short time. It's one thing with our old Soviet equipment, because back then that's basically all we had. But foreign equipment, where everything runs through computers and electronics, that's a completely different world. Even the weapon systems are computer-controlled. When you're zeroing the sights and calibrating everything, the computer literally tells you exactly what to do, like teaching a child. Honestly, the vehicle practically teaches you itself. That's how the software is designed. After just 2 weeks, we were flying around in those Bradleys, doing everything with them like we'd been driving them our entire lives. Look at me. I'm just a regular livestock specialist. Basically, I was supposed to spend my life working with animals. Instead, I built my life around the army. I wanted it, so I learned. I was discharged again. But I still keep thinking about how to get my health back into shape a little more. The war isn't over. One way or another, I'll find my way back into the armed forces. It's only a matter of time. My middle brother joined the army too, even though he'd never even completed his mandatory military service. I told him, "Lyosha, you didn't have to go." He answered, "You went. Our younger brother went. How could I ever look either of you in the eyes if I stayed home?" He's serving in the 67th Brigade now. He's already been wounded 3 times. I just came back from Donbass and stopped by to see him. His left arm still doesn't work very well. He said, "Sanya, at least now I know we'll sit down at the same table someday." and will be able to look each other straight in the eyes instead of looking away. And he's right. It fills me with pride that I have brothers like that. And my sister too, Dashka. They're all still young. Though honestly, she still deserves a kick in the ass sometimes. Even so, this is the best job in the world, the very best. There's nothing better. That's just how I see it. That's the truth as I know it. The only thing that makes it a little difficult is this. If I were allowed to tell these stories with all the swearing included, I'd tell them even better. But we're civilized people.